We now move on to the third deputation, and that relates to temporary accommodation. Can the designated speaker for this deputation please come forward to the stage?
Good evening, Council. My name is Davida Dawkins, and this is my deputation to end temporary accommodation in its current form. Lambeth Council, you have an unacceptable number of homeless households. Suffering is caused by you, making families endure homelessness and have no rights to settle where they live. You have no practical or economically viable solutions to reduce the need for emergency accommodation. The temporary accommodation scheme and new homes initiative run by you is an assault on our population, which must not continue. I need members of the council to know if you become homeless, and anyone can become homeless, you will be sheltered in a place that is not safe, that makes you sick. You will pay rent for the privilege, for damp, mouldy squalor, to live with pests, inadequate heating, for somewhere you cannot make your home. Imagine your almighty powerful landlord treating you with disregard and contempt, ignoring your serious pleas for your sanity, your safety, manipulating you into thinking they have done all that they can, using lack of funds as an acceptable excuse for providing you with substandard living quarters. Imagine the children that live within these conditions. Imagine being unable to provide for them because of the circumstances we live in, not for lack of trying, but because our council, Lambeth Council, does not respect the right to a home for all in its borough. The council has concerns around incentivising homelessness if they provide council houses for all that would need. Yet, if there were council houses for all, then we would not be homeless, would we? My family and others live in Denby Court. We have lived here for almost 4 years now. Every day of this time, we have never known when you, our landlord, will want us off this land, and we have been grateful, even though we have lived with insecurity, been used as property guardians and products that can supply a steady stream of housing revenue. An investment we provide into the council that never seems to serve us as residents, especially not with a secure home, no matter how long we wait. We are rewarded with long lives of instability, often over a decade of navigating homelessness, ensuring we are separate in society and deprived of any positive opportunity, all whilst relying on the system that keeps us broken. The circumstances and oppression that you impose upon homeless households in temporary accommodation is state violence, and it needs to be made publicly prominent. You are also aware that the large majority of these figures are from your ethnic minority population. It is important you acknowledge that you are a cause of systemic racism within our borough. You are merchants of inequality and purveyors of fallacy. We often experience demeaning humiliation, dehumanization at the hands of council workers who are paid to help us. So as you continue to abuse our families and our children, we implore you to stop housing us, charging us rent and council tax to live in unsafe, squalid properties that are overcrowded and of a condition you wouldn't house yourself or your children in. Stop expecting us to be happy, secure and satisfied with not knowing how long we will be living in a place that is meant to be temporary. Stop downgrading our priority banding just because you placed us in emergency temporary accommodation. Remember, we still have no secure home or tenancy rights. Stop thinking we would be grateful to be removed from our support networks, schools, livelihoods and areas of familiarity without choice. Stop causing the mental health of our young to be affected negatively and nurturing the social problems within them. Acknowledge your temporary accommodation schemes and neglected housing estates are causing serious and clear deterioration of mental health. Give homeless households top priority on the housing register and a right to secure affordable housing. Actively invest and promote the development of individuals who are inflicted with homelessness. Work aggressively towards levelling up all demographics within our borough. Live up to your promises to reduce inequality and make a fair society where everyone can flourish. Be proactive, not reactive with issues that are apparent or developing, preferably before it's brought to light via media or embarrassment. Consider new housing initiatives to swap round the figures, 30% private, 70% social housing. Wouldn't be a problem if social tenants weren't stigmatised. Be responsible and acknowledge you are at the forefront of maintaining a positive and productive society within our Lambeth Borough.
You have 30 seconds.
In the Lambeth Borough, we look forward to your response in making Lambeth the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Please remain where you are while Councillor Matthew Bennett, Deputy Leader, Planning Investment and New Homes, responds. Councillor Bennett, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And it should be clear, I'm standing in for Councillor Maria Kay, who's the Cabinet Member for Housing and Homelessness, who's unwell this evening, so can't be here and sends her apologies. Can I start off, Davida, by thanking you for coming along this evening to make your deputation. I know that your deputation was backed by a number of other residents who we've seen on the list, so thank you very much for coming along. I know that local ward councillors, particularly Prince's ward councillors, have worked very closely with you on getting repairs done at Denby Court and elsewhere. I'm sure that support will continue for as long as it is needed. I also want to thank you for speaking up and speaking out about the very real pain that we can hear in your voice about the experience of homelessness in London. It's not just a Lambeth issue, it's London-wide, in many cases it's country-wide, and all of us here tonight will have heard exactly how you feel and the pain that you're bearing in that. I also know that there are councillors here this evening who have themselves experienced homelessness during their lives. And all of us, for however long we've been councillors, know from our work in the community, our casework, our advice surgeries, or from spending time with frontline workers working with homeless families, the scale of the crisis and what it does to people's lives. We know that that crisis is caused first and foremost by the shortage of genuinely affordable homes, not just here in Lambeth, but across our entire capital city. And I want you to know that as Labour councillors, all of us are angry and ashamed to see homelessness on this scale in the richest city in one of the richest countries in the world in the third decade of the 21st century. But we also recognise that for 11 years, Conservative governments have cut benefits, capped benefits and incomes for families in a way that's forced them out of the private rented sector, and at the same time cutting money to build genuinely affordable homes, which is ultimately the only way we can resolve homelessness. This year alone, we've seen the number of families in TA in Lambeth rise from just over 2,700 in January to 2,915 at the start of this week. Every week, around 10 more families find themselves homeless and depending on Lambeth for support. And we're now spending over £10 million a year finding alternative temporary accommodation, making sure as best we can that those temporary homes maintain the important local connections to family, to friends, support networks, to schools and to work. And I know that over 60% of families who've been living at Denby Court in temporary accommodation have already been found suitable alternative accommodation. The reality we face across our entire stock of temporary accommodation is 85% of it is leased from private sector landlords. It doesn't belong to the council and it isn't in our control.
30 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And at the same time, the number of people bidding for council social and affordable housing is increasing week out and week out by 3 times the number of homes that are available every week. So with over 30,000 people on our waiting list who all have to be assessed by need irrespective of their housing circumstances, we are in a position where the only way we can deliver that justice for you in the long run is to build those homes and to make sure that we offer you our commitment, which is ongoing, to make sure whatever your circumstance, we're providing the right support, the appropriate support and the sensitive support to you and other families in your situation. And I know that we will continue to do all we can for you. But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.